Most people think Lyme disease starts with a bullseye rash, but for many people it doesn't. And by the time they realize something is wrong, they've already been sick for months. Because one of the scariest things about Lyme is that the early symptoms can look completely normal. Fatigue, brain fog, random pain, flu-like symptoms, or just feeling off or not like yourself. These are things that most people would never immediately connect to Lyme disease. So in this video, I want to walk you through some of the early signs of Lyme disease that people completely miss, and why catching this stuff early actually matters. One of the biggest early warning signs is getting hit with flu-like symptoms when it doesn't really seem to make sense. Body aches, headaches, fatigue, chills, feeling completely wiped out. A lot of people assume maybe I caught a virus, or maybe my body's completely run down right now, or maybe I'm stressed. But if this starts happening after spending time outside, like hiking and camping and gardening, walking trails, even just being in grassy or wooded areas, or if that's the type of person you already are. Personally, I love the outdoors. Then it's something worth paying attention to, especially during the spring and summer. Because Lyme disease usually starts as something that feels surprisingly normal at first. That's part of what makes it really tricky. Another huge early sign that people often overlook is fatigue that feels different. Not just I stayed up too late type of tired. I'm talking about the kind of exhaustion where your body suddenly feels heavy, like you slept but still wake up exhausted. A lot of people describe it as feeling like I got hit by a truck. And the reason this matters is because people often push through it or try to ignore it altogether. They keep working, keep training, keep trying to force themselves forward. They never stop to realize that something deeper might be going on with their body. Brain fog is another massive symptom that we see over and over again. Trouble concentrating, forgetting simple things, difficulty finding words, feeling mentally slow, struggling to think clearly, or even having a sort of out-of-body experience. And what makes this symptom so confusing is that modern life already makes people feel overwhelmed or burnt out pretty frequently. So a lot of people blame themselves. They think, maybe I'm just stressed. Maybe I need more caffeine. Maybe I'm just distracted. But when brain fog starts showing up alongside fatigue, pain, headaches, or flu-like symptoms, it's very worth paying attention to the pattern. Another strange thing people notice early on is pain that moves around. One day it's your knee, then it's your neck, then it's your shoulder, then your wrists. And because the pain changes locations, it can leave people feeling confused, especially if scans or tests don't immediately show damage to those areas. A lot of people start wondering, am I overreacting? Is this all in my head? And that's not helped by the way the system currently handles this type of patient. But shifting symptoms are something that people with Lyme disease describe early on in their journey. The next one honestly doesn't get talked about enough. Some people experience sudden anxiety, panic attacks, dizziness, heart palpitations, or this strange disconnected feeling that feels like you just don't feel like yourself anymore, or like you are removed from your physical body, if that makes sense. It's really hard to describe if you've never experienced it. And because these symptoms sound psychological, people never actually connect them to a real physical issue that's going on inside the body. But when your nervous system feels inflamed or overwhelmed, it can affect a lot more than just physical pain. We always hear people say, I just knew something was wrong. Something wasn't right. Something was off. This is even before they fully understood what was happening. Now, obviously, the bullseye rash can happen. And if you ever see that rash, you should absolutely take it seriously. But one of the biggest misconceptions with Lyme is that you must see a rash in order to have Lyme disease. A lot of people never see one. A lot of people never notice a tick bite. Ticks can be tiny. Sometimes bites happen in hard to see areas on your body, like in your armpit or on your back. And symptoms don't always appear immediately. On top of that, ticks can and do bite and then fall off before you ever see they were there, especially if they're in the nymph or baby stage of their life cycle. That's one of the reasons why Lyme disease gets missed so often early on. Now, I want to make something really clear here. I'm not saying that every symptom means you have Lyme disease. And I'm not trying to scare people, but I am saying that paying attention early on matters. One of the biggest mistakes we see people make is waiting until symptoms become very clear and obvious, or until things go very wrong, until they start taking action against Lyme disease. You shouldn't wait to take your health seriously, especially if you've been bitten by a tick. One of the biggest mistakes we see all the time is people waiting until things become severe to start taking their health seriously. They ignore the signs, they push through symptoms, and they keep waiting for things to magically improve. And sometimes that delay actually makes things much harder later on. The goal is not panic. The goal is awareness. And the goal is learning how to listen to your body earlier on. Because the earlier you recognize that something is wrong, the sooner you can start supporting your body and making a plan that helps you heal. When I first got sick, I didn't fully understand what was happening to me at all. I felt something was off for days. I experienced symptoms that honestly made no sense to me whatsoever. And looking back now, I realize how important momentum and consistency really are in recovery. Not waiting until everything completely falls apart. Not ignoring what your body is trying to tell you, but actually paying attention early. And if you're currently dealing with symptoms and wondering if Lyme could potentially be part of the picture, I actually created a free Lyme test that walks through common symptom patterns that people experience with Lyme disease. It's free and it will help you have more clarity about what's going on with your body. You can take it at freelymetest.com. Hopefully it gives you a little more clarity and direction. It's there for you for free. Again, the goal here isn't fear, it's awareness. Because the earlier you recognize the signs, the sooner you can start taking back control of your health. You can feel like yourself again.